What hits harder in bodybuilding, the muscle or the reaction it pulls out of everybody watching? Because the wildest moments are never just about size. They're about that split second when a normal room turns dead still, somebody stares a little too long, and everyone realizes they're looking at something that doesn't feel real. It starts with Arnold Schwarzenegger, completely locked into his daily routine, training like it's just another day in the gym. But sitting behind him is a girl who clearly is not having a normal day, because the second she sees those biceps and the way he moves through the workout, the whole vibe changes. And here's the part people miss. For Arnold, this looks casual, but for everybody around him, it already feels like a spectacle. He moves into his pec work, and that shock only gets bigger. You can almost feel the moment stretching out, because the more he trains, the more the people nearby seem to realize they're watching something rare. Then, after he finishes, the reaction behind him gives the whole clip its punch, and suddenly a basic gym session turns into one of those unforgettable bodybuilding moments. But if you think that was intense, Ronnie Coleman takes it in a totally different direction. He's on Turkish TV, already a larger than life presence, and then a girl asks if she can touch his muscles just to see how strong they really are. That alone would have been enough to make the moment memorable, but Ronnie being Ronnie, he keeps it effortless, calm, almost amused by how unreal the whole thing feels. And then it escalates. Moments later, on the same show, he takes off his shirt in front of the audience and everybody watching live, and the reaction is immediate. Reporters start applauding, the energy flips, and what was already a surreal TV segment turns into a full-blown live spectacle. That's the strange magic of bodybuilding at its peak. Sometimes the room doesn't know how to react until it's already reacting. Then you jump to Chris Bumstead getting ready to train for Mr. Olympia 2021, and the setup is so simple it almost sneaks up on you. He's in the gym, focused, preparing to work, and then he takes off his jacket. That's it. No speech, no build up, just one small move, and suddenly someone behind him starts screaming from the shock of seeing him up close. That's what makes these clips so addictive. There's no need for big production when the physique does all the work. 1 second it's a normal training session, and the next second somebody in the background is losing their mind. And honestly, those unscripted reactions are sometimes louder than the bodybuilder ever needs to be.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Uh-oh.
Then Connor Murphy takes the chaos out of the gym and drops it right into a shopping mall. He walks into a famous clothing store, takes off his shirt, and starts posing like he belongs in the middle of the display. It sounds ridiculous on paper, which is exactly why it works, because people don't expect bodybuilding level conditioning in the middle of a retail store. At first it's confusion, then curiosity, and then the crowd starts building. Phones come out, people gather around, and before long the whole place feels less like a store and more like a live event. And that's where it gets interesting, because bodybuilding doesn't always need a stage. Sometimes the stage is just wherever people happen to stop and stare. Then the tone shifts again with a massive bodybuilder pulling deadlifts in a commercial gym. The metal slams, the sound echoes everywhere, and every rep feels like it's shaking the room. You can tell the lift is heavy before anybody says a word, because everybody around him starts looking over, including the people right behind him who clearly weren't expecting to witness that kind of power from a few feet away. What makes it land is the contrast. A commercial gym is supposed to feel normal, controlled, familiar, but the second that bar crashes and the weight moves, it stops feeling normal. It feels like something much bigger just walked into an ordinary space and changed the temperature.
Here we go. What do we got?
And then there's a rare clip of Arnold again, but this time from the beginning of his bodybuilding years in 1969, posing in a British bodybuilding competition. That's a completely different kind of epic, because you're not just seeing a reaction clip anymore. You're watching the early version of a legend, and the people around him already seem drawn in by the presence before the full myth is even finished. There's something almost eerie about those early moments. You know what Arnold becomes, but in this clip he's still on the way there, and yet the attention is already locked on him. That's what makes the footage feel bigger than just another pose routine. It feels like history before history knows what it is. Interview. Then the script flips back to raw strength. Two guys notice a lifter handling an over 400-kilogram squat, and the reaction is exactly what you'd expect when someone sees that kind of weight move in real life. There's shock, disbelief, and that split second where the brain almost refuses to process what just happened. And that's one of the most replayable things in bodybuilding and power sports. Not just the lift itself, but the faces around it. Because when the number gets that high, the reaction becomes part of the performance. The spectators aren't beside the moment, they are the moment.
Three-time
All right.
champion,
There it is.
Bumstead.
Whoop, there it is.
That was a good battle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Terrence.
Then things get personal at the Mr. Olympia 2021 press conference when Breon Ansley takes off his shirt to pose in front of the audience. In the middle of that moment, he places the shirt on Chris Bumstead's shoulder, and a lot of viewers saw it as a disrespectful move or a little jab, even though intent is something only Breon himself could fully explain. Either way, fans instantly read tension into it, and suddenly the rivalry feels a lot more real. But the next day is what gives that clip its lasting edge. Both men share the same stage in the biggest bodybuilding competition in the world, and Chris Bumstead ends up winning his third Mr. Olympia. A lot of fans frame that as the perfect answer to the press conference moment, not with words, but with the result that mattered most. And whether you call that revenge or just elite composure, it made the whole sequence hit even harder.
Look at his back. Spread out, and take off, Jay. Take off, Jay. Look at those wings. There you go.
Then Jay Cutler takes bodybuilding back outside and turns a public area into a showcase. He heads to Muscle Beach for a back workout, and people start gathering fast. Because once Jay starts training in the open, it's not just a workout anymore. It becomes a magnet. Thousands want to see how he moves, how he pulls, how that famous back actually looks in motion. And then, just when the crowd is already locked in, he takes off his shirt and starts posing. Photographers get busy, the attention gets even tighter, and the moment becomes bigger than training. It turns into one of those public displays that reminds you bodybuilding has always had a performance side, and when a physique is that complete, people respond like they're seeing something almost unreal.
Dude, is it a prank? What the f... What? What the fuck? Was it a joke?
But maybe the most fun twist comes from the bodybuilder who disguises himself as a weak old man and walks into the gym like he barely knows what he's doing. At first he makes mistakes, moves awkwardly, and lets people around him think they've figured him out. Some laugh, some look confused, and that false first impression is exactly what sets the trap. Then the reveal starts. Suddenly he begins lifting heavy, and not just heavy for a joke, but heavy enough to make the entire room freeze. The people who were dismissing him a minute ago now look completely stunned, because the switch is so sharp it almost feels fake even while it's happening. And he doesn't stop there. Once the suspense has built all the way up, he takes off his shirt and reveals the physique underneath, and that's the final blow. Every person in that gym seems to hit the same reaction at once, because the prank isn't just that he's strong, It's that he made everybody misread the story before the real story even began. And somehow the 400 plus kilogram squat clips keep finding new ways to land. In another one, a guy watches the lift with full focus, and the reaction alone sells just how insane the weight is. That's the strange thing with monster lifts, even if you've seen numbers on a screen before. Watching somebody near the rack realize what's happening in real time still hits differently. Then Arnold shows up again, this time doing pec work in public at Muscle Beach, and two kids behind him are completely absorbed by it. That tiny background detail says a lot. Bodybuilding at that level doesn't just impress competitors or hardcore fans. Sometimes it pulls in the people who were never even expecting to care. Then the energy changes one more time at the Mr. Olympia 2004 after party. After months of sacrifice, strict dieting, and the pressure of the most important bodybuilding competition in the world, all these bodybuilders end up under the same roof, eating pizza and drinking energy drinks. It's such a different image from the polished stage version, and that contrast is what makes it memorable. After all that discipline, this is the release. But the prank angle comes back too. A professional powerlifter pretends to be a total beginner in front of trainers and other people in the gym, playing the part just enough to lower everybody's expectations. And then, almost out of nowhere, the technique tightens up, the weight jumps, and the room goes quiet for a completely different reason. By the time the lifts get serious, the trainer looks speechless. That's the kind of moment these compilations live on, because it compresses everything into one reaction: confusion, disbelief, and then instant respect. You think you know what you're watching, and then the clip flips on you. Interview. And just when you think the disguises can't get any stranger, another bodybuilder transforms himself into a fat man and takes the act to Muscle Beach. People see the look first and make the obvious assumption, and that assumption lasts right up until he starts pulling off impressive calisthenic tricks in front of them. Every eye turns, every expectation collapses. Then we come back one last time to that brutal heavy atmosphere around a 400 plus kilogram squat. A girl behind the lifter notices what's about to happen, tells her friend, and then the reaction lands like the perfect final beat. Because after all the posing, the pranks, the rivalries, the public workouts, and the old footage of legends, it still comes down to the same thing. Somebody sees the impossible up close, and for a second they don't know what to do except stare. Interview. That's why these moments stick, not just because the physiques are huge or the lifts are outrageous, but because every clip captures that exact instant when shock turns into memory. So out of all of them, which moment was the most unreal to you? The quiet stare behind Arnold, the live TV reaction to Ronnie, the Bumstead rivalry moment, or those insane 400 plus kilogram lifts that made everybody around them freeze?